We just saw a movie in this amazing bowling alley looking thing, which is actually a bowling alley. Are you impressed?
I am impressed. It's where we always watch our movies.
Yeah, because it's cheap on a Tuesday, although today is not a Tuesday, today is some other day.
It's now officially Sunday.
I have new hair. Yeah, we were supposed to see this at 9. Alas, there was an old couple in front of us, and they decided to go to the ticket booth to try and get ice cream. So we were foiled in getting the last tickets to see Sinister at 9, so we had to wait till 11:15. And I'm going to have to answer to Omega when I get home.
Oh.
She will destroy me. So we saw Sinister, and it's much better than the trailer would suggest.
It's like the opposite of most films. Most films have a really exciting trailer and a shit film. This was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Don't know if I'd call it brilliant, but
okay, it was genuinely creepy, which in a horror film is what I want.
It was definitely the best horror movie that we've sort of sat through together and vlogged. Where the other two were Chernobyl Diaries and The Possession, so Ethan Hawke pissing against a wall for an hour and a half would have been better than that. By the way, I have no sympathy for Ethan Hawke in any film he does, because he starred in the second worst film adaptation of Hamlet ever made. The worst film adaptation of Hamlet ever made being the one set in Derry, which I worked on. It's on YouTube.
Baz Luhrmann should do Hamlet.
No. So, before we go into spoilers, yeah, this was creepy, a lot of atmosphere, although most of the actual scares come from loud noises and jump scares.
It's to be expected these days, though.
No, it's not to be expected, and it is not to be encouraged. The true masterful horror person could make a horror movie out of one scare.
Like Saw.
No. Like Ring. Japanese Ring, Hideo Nakata. That was build up to one fucking scare, and it is possibly the best single scare in film history. But yeah, this one, when it comes to, like, you know, jump scare and loud noise horror movies, it's definitely one of the better ones I've seen. I mean, it's better than I expected, although the people of Afghanistan are going to conduct some sort of legal action against the makers of this for portraying the divine Hagan as a baby-eating deity. Hagan never eats babies. Well, eats babies, but not children. I'm totally in this movie.
It really is. The monster looks exactly like her.
Well, not right now, but when I'm in the makeup and they would.
Whenever you take your makeup off.
Oh, well, thank you. When I got the makeup and I got the light and all over me.
Is it not canon that your white face shit is natural and that you wear skin makeup over it?
No.
That's the way I thought it.
Hagan wears makeup, but in Project Million the joke was that I put flesh-colored makeup over my other makeup.
Ah, that's why I was confused. And I work on the show.
Well, I decided all this before you came on. But yeah, the monster is still not really a spoiler because it's a horror movie. There's going to be some sort of monster. White-faced thing with terrible hair, although my hair's slightly less terrible than usual, with red markings on their face and being all, well, sinister because it's a really obvious, you know, title. We might as well have called it horror. Ethan Hawke Scary Time. And with the red bits, and they have like a long, a long coat and everything, and I want everyone who has vlogged this. I want to watch everyone's vlogs to see how many times I'm mentioned. At least on, you know, the Tig people.
Yeah.
Which is probably just Brad, and Brad probably doesn't see enough of my show to realize that he looks just like me. God damn it, I failed.
Oh.
Oh well.
It's okay. Your hair feels nice today.
It was done yesterday.
It feels nice today.
It's like a quarter of the length. Check it out. This is the shortest it's been since, like, Bosco.
The villain in this was Bosco?
Maybe. Because Hagan's definitely not Bosco, although people misunderstand the episode to think that Hagan is.
I hear drunk people.
There's people behind us.
I hear drunk people. Hey look, you can see them too. Hi drunk people! Anyway, shall we go into spoilers? Spoilers.
Spoiler. Okay, family get killed at the start. First shot, there was a lot of laughter from like 12-year-olds, and but they shut up mostly, which was good.
We saw this film in Northern Ireland. People don't scream; they giggle their arses off.
Well, it's quite often, laughter has been suggested is, okay, your mind is very good at coming up with what it thinks is going to happen next, and whenever that doesn't happen, sort of the energy of trying to reorientate your mind about what's going to happen next has to dissipate, and it's been suggested that's where laughter comes from. So this is why laughter and horror quite often mix together.
Did you hear the guy who spilled his popcorn?
At the very end?
No, one of the jump scares.
I didn't
Somebody
hear.
obviously holding their popcorn at one of the jump scares went, ah!
I didn't hear that. No, I remember the guy at the very end. It was like last the monster comes in and then the guy's you just hear the guy going, ah! It's like this one guy, like 12-year-old with his gang of friends, so he's going to get possibly gang raped or whatever children do to show how disapproving they are of them crying at horror movies.
Last I remember, they used pool cues and videotape it and put it on YouTube.
Ah, okay. Whatever. I hope they put it on YouTube.
So there's Gordon Freeman's gay alcoholic brother, who is a writer and an Apple fan, and the Microsoft police chase him down and murder him.
Yeah, it was Ethan Hawke, who was like, "I'm Ethan Hawke." No fucking sympathy. Okay, right at the start, you got families are getting killed, and it's all like, "Ooh, who's killing these people in the family?" And they killed in they move into the house where one of the families were killed, and this is the thing that kept bothering me. Okay, the family were killed in 2001. That's what I thought. You thought it was 2011.
I thought it was 2011. I could be mistaken.
So either of us could be mistaken about when this family was killed, but they were hung and this tree was cut off and it's sort of used as a weight thing. I'm not sure how a tree branch that size could lift 4 people, but
in principle of moments it was tied really close to it. It doesn't really work.
It apparently in film logic it works. But they were hung there and the tree but then either they come in either a year later or 11 years later, depending which of us is right.
Mm-hmm.
The tree branch that was cut off is still sitting there beside the other tree.
That would have been removed in any police investigation.
Yeah, or it would have even if it was left, it would have rotted away.
That cut still looked fresh as fuck.
Yeah, it would have rotted away or something. It's live near trees. Looks different. It's not the way it works.
You don't get a nice clean cut like that after even.
Although it is Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania 65000.
Anyway,
time.
So there's families getting murdered, and then I'm causing it because I'm apparently evil. It's much longer than a film of this type, which is nice. It lets the story breathe. I mean, it's not like The Possession where it was like, Debug, Bex,
jump scare.
Hey, with this it was more like, evil creature, jump scare.
Character development. Woo. Almost character development. Jump scare.
Funny deputy turns up every so often. Jump scare.
Deputy's actually quite a good guy.
Random occultist who is obviously called Dr. Jonas because they didn't want to go quite as obvious as like Dr. Faustus, but they didn't want to be quite as unsubtle as say Dr. Johnson. Hello, I know about the occult. I have a beard and I kept expecting someone to jump out on him because he has a beard.
There's an assistant named Jennifer.
I thought that was his wife. Because it looked like he was in his house rather than his office.
I don't know.
Unless he wants his house to look like an evil, den of occult. Well, that fits actually.
Fuck the guy Ellison. He is an office bigger than my house.
I think it was named after Harlan Ellison.
Yeah. I just found it weird to have a guy named Ellison.
Ellison. Yes, not Allison.
I don't know any guys named Ellison.
That's what I was suggesting. Harlan Ellison's a famous science fiction writer.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote, I have no mouth and I must scream. Which is all about the shit worse than death, basically.
So like a one-armed man hanging off a cliff with an itchy ballsack?
Or being... read the story. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much more to say. There's very little to bitch about. You saw videotapes of like the horrible, terrible crimeness happening, and they had the monster creature had powers over restoring film equipment. I really don't know how he did that.
Well, the same way he was teleporting in and out of the rift space.
Yeah, but okay, there's teleporting. That's just magic shit. But he had to rebuild a Super 8 camera at least once.
Well, maybe he had a spare copy.
Isn't it strange that he
Space.
started doing this in 1969? So it's like "Oh my God, I have been waiting around to kill children and eat their souls and kill people. But I wanted to wait until videotape was invented. Yay!"
If he's part of Fix the Super 8, why didn't he fix his Fresca?
Why didn't they fix the Okay. After spoiler, Ethan Hawke burns the Fresca, the Super 8. Then it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was being left for the next person or whatever, but sure, why did it leave him for him if they were just about to kill him? I don't understand the point of that. But
no, they were leaving him for his daughter, whatever she was called. They will call Lizzie.
Okay, but how come it didn't? Okay, the first tape, film got burned. Why didn't it rebuild that one? You won't rebuild any of them until you burn all of them?
Well, maybe he was just trying to be subtle.
I'm not really seeing the subtlety in this is basically a creepypasta, the movie.
No, he was trying to be subtle in, here's these pictures of murders that totally could have not happened supernaturally. I don't want to show you supernatural.
But here's me turning up in a reflection in each one of them. Hi, I am the Amanda Hagan, the serial killing god Celtic version.
With a big nose. He had a fucking Halloween witch's nose on at one point.
And the thing with the actual having the kids around in the the bits,
Mm-hmm.
It was fine with just the monster guy, but then I think whenever the kids literally did get involved, it went too far. Such as the bit where the guy was playing Grandmother's Footsteps, and it's like, I am wandering around looking for things and evidence of stuff's going on, and there's all time behind him. There's children dancing or jumping around or whatever. I swear, one of the bits it would have been improved if the kids started doing the Saturday Night Fever dance. I want to get this film on DVD just so I can take the clip of him wandering around and add some hilarious comedy soundtracks, because it's pretty much a comedy sketch, not a good comedy sketch, but it's a comedy sketch.
It sort of broke up the movie.
It made it it took me out of it.
Yeah. I will say, coming at the end, the killer's MO was he would track down families, kill everybody but one child, and yada yada yada. And I turned to Zara near the end of the film and says, wait, why is he doing this in the same house? His MO was that he always goes to different places. And just before it was actually announced, it was like, I need to move away. Like, so he's following people who've moved in after the murders have happened and moved away. And then that was the case. And I was proud of myself.
You have very low standards for being proud of yourself.
I'm proud of myself for being me.
Again, you have very low standards.
Sorry.
You are successfully being you every time, even when you're asleep. Even if you died, you'd still technically be you, although your mind would have dissipated.
With worms.
Very low standards.
Well, maybe people need lower standards. It'll lower the stress of the entire world.
Sorry, I have to be angry and grouchy because I had to pay double price for this ticket. Usually, we would have gone to see it on Tuesday, as per usual, but I'm sort of going to be in Philadelphia by Tuesday night when we would usually do that. Well, Philadelphia. Yeah, I'll probably roughly be landing at Philadelphia and getting picked up by Omega. So, we had to do it. What day is it now? It's Saturday night?
It's Saturday night.
Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're probably going to see this after this. I'm probably going to put this up late Sunday. So, just pretend that it's Sunday night. So yeah, I had to pay double price because Tuesday is the half-off price, which is why we usually do it on a Tuesday. So, I had to pay for both of our tickets because you provide the car and the epic talking to the camera.
Epic talking.
Talk to the camera epically, I'm going to be over here.
Well, now, people always ask me how to roll a joint properly. Now, what you got to do You don't just pack it full of weed. That's stupid. You gotta put sort of 50-50 weed mix with tobacco. Maybe a bit more weed if you're feeling adventurous. Then people just tend to just go for it, but you don't. You gotta rub it up and down your fingers to make sure it's a circular thing. And don't use a filter, you stupid fuck. Use a roach. And then don't completely soak it whenever you're licking your clothes. You just gotta dab a little bit of spittle on there and close it over. Then make sure it's smooth. Twist the end, bite it off, and there you go. Perfect joint. I don't see why people find this so hard, especially Nixon and Hogan, who just go and make magic joints.
So, the scene when the boy was going to be Solid Snake, and I did sort of go over and go, Snake! Because the guy, Ethan Hawke's like, oh, there's something mysterious going on. Oh no, holy shit, why is there a man-sized box in the middle of the kitchen? And it's moving.
There's going to be somebody in the box.
Then suddenly there's screaming, and because the boy's got rather femme long hair, and was like 12,
Pretty androgynous.
very androgynous. So for, I don't know, how many, 15 to 20 seconds, it's hard to tell that it's
Him.
not, that's not just a young woman who's mostly naked. And like, just get really confused, and then suddenly, it's like a tree all over again. You're seeing the first Neverending Story?
Yeah.
Very androgynous looking character. So in 2 scripts I've written so far, I've had characters who expressed that they thought Atreyu was the most attractive woman ever in film. So it's just like an ongoing joke I do. But this guy's got a very similar sort of thing. He's very, very androgynous looking, and he's topless, and he's not the thinnest kid in the world. So it's like, holy shit, we've got topless woman. Oh no, wait, that's a 12-year-old boy.
We did see the wife's nipples through the top.
Yes, we did. Which is...
What I want to know about the boy, though, sort of this was the edge of the box, and he sort of flipped out with his back on it like that. How the fuck did the edge of that box not collapse?
That's very true, which is what I was thinking. It was like some sort of demon creature woman.
I thought it was one of the dead kids.
That would be more disturbing, because the dead kids looked like they were young women about 20 who just had small tits. Please tell me I'm not insane.
No! You're
Okay.
insane!
Oh, great, thank you. That's why I'm eating children.
Although, it is good tender meat.
These family, they have this bit where the girl, like, okay, one of her things is she paints on her walls, which is fair enough, okay? But then, like, they yell at her because she paints on like, another wall that's not in her bedroom.
Like the rule is she has to paint in her bedroom and nowhere else.
So she paints one of the dead kids on the wall. Okay, fair enough. But then no one comments on the fact that the only time we see the kid who thinks he's friends with the dead kid has painted
The picture of her family hanging from the tree.
Yeah, and it's like,
Nobody notices this.
hey, we noticed a bunch of stuff in the film, and evil stuff going on, da. No one fucking notices the mural of the dead fucking children hanging from the tree. 2 scenes earlier, they were yelling at each other about, how could you move us into a house where people were hanging from a tree? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Also, the kid, Jacob, whatever you call him.
He sort of vanished for most of it.
Yeah, but he went into school and drew on a whiteboard the picture of the 4 people hanging from the tree. And he drew it on a permanent marker. Now, I did that a fuck ton in school. I drew fucked up shit in the whiteboards because I'm fucked up. Or, perfectly normal, and everybody does that kind of shit at some stage in their life. I never got sent home over it. It was like, well, here's the fucking...
I think it's because it's the real-life murder thing, and it was their house, and just the mother didn't find out about that.
Yeah, but you don't send a kid home over that. You give them whiteboard eraser and tell them to get cleaned off by the end of the fucking day. Permanent marker isn't that permanent.
One of the kids has ginger hair, one of them has black hair, or dark brown hair. The dad has brown hair, and the English mother has blonde hair.
Oh, well, ginger skips generations.
I prefer my theory that the mother is sleeping with everyone. At one point, the mother threatens to take the kids to go to her sister's house. She's in Pennsylvania.
And she has an English accent.
Yeah, she's English.
This
This involves a really expensive trip to see her sister, unless her sister happens to live inside America, which, to be fair, unlikely statistically, I'm thinking.
They could have emigrated together.
they wouldn't have had the accent. They would have had to do that as children, or before like adulthood. So they wouldn't have. Their accent would not be that strong. It would be sort of more like a transatlantic thing. She just had an English accent.
No, she had an awful English accent. It was terribly done.
It was still an English accent. It was still not hey, this is half American accent deliberately. This was full on, at least attempting to be English. Although I think it actually was an English accent. Because if they were having someone pretend to be English, there is no way in hell that they would have made this sort of fuck up with the sister. They should have just rewritten it to, I'll go to a motel.
Or I'll go back to the other house we own that's also a fucking mansion.
Yeah, like...
Oh, we have money troubles, but we own 2 mansions. Fuck off.
Well, they own 1 mansion and 1 average-sized house for the sort of rural Pennsylvania.
Okay. They look like mansions to me.
Well, America, they have more space. So their houses tend to be larger than ours.
Well, then I'm going to move to America.
You shouldn't. Their houses are made of wood.
Well, that's stupid. I'll move to America and build a brick house.
That's just very expensive. Plus, in Pennsylvania, they have Lyme disease.
Well, then I'll use lime-free cement.
Lyme disease affects deer.
I thought you meant it was a rotting of lime.
No. It's... You get deers, and they have ticks all over them, and they can kill you.
Well, I don't want to move to Pennsylvania. I want to move to New York State.
New York State is a lot colder than Pennsylvania.
I like the cold.
Well, then you're allowed to.
And I'll be fine in my brick house with insulation.
Okay. Anyway. Fine film. Much better than I expected.
Genuinely creepy. Quite enjoyable. I would recommend it. Although it's not quite as scary as my friends the other night made it out to be. They didn't make out.
Your friends might be wusses when it comes to horror movies.
Oh, they are.
Good.
Shoo. It's over. I've said all there is to say. Go back to your lives. Watch the fucking film.